So I'm wandering around in this forest, and as you can hear, it's filled with birds and life. I've seen deer in this forest. I've seen badger sets. I've seen rabbit burrows. I think a fox might live here too. And it's an interesting location because it runs right alongside an agricultural field growing a crop, and this crop is known as rape. I use rapeseed oil, and it's what's known as a monoculture, as in everything in that field is just that crop. There's nothing else, so it's mono, just a single crop. Now next door is this forest, but this forest is also a crop. It takes a longer time to grow, and underneath it's not just one culture, it's not just a monoculture. There are lots of other supporting plants. There's also different species of tree here as well, just springing up all the time, from saplings, from seeds brought in by birds, or from seeds that have fallen from parent trees like pine cones or fir cones and the like. And of course, everything is growing here, different species. We've got some ivy, we've got brambles, we've got bluebells. There's only a couple here, but there are loads around. And we've got all the plants, other plants and animals that live here too. Here you can see a pine cone that's been nibbled by probably a squirrel. And although nature is beautiful, it's also brutal. And you can see something here is eating a male pheasant. Got his feathers here. You see a lot of them roaming around. So there probably is a fox, at least operating in these woods, if not living within them. Yeah, that's a fox skull. Another part of the food chain that this forest provides for is the decomposers. Now they're things like mushrooms and fungi and all sorts of bacteria that will take something that's dead and decaying and turn them into food. So this fungus will decompose this branch, or at least decompose part of it, into the ground, making the soil richer and usable for the plants, who will then take that decomposed energy and put it back into the ecosystem, either by being eaten, like this thing might thrive because of it, produce blackberries which get eaten by the birds, deer, etc. that live here. And then obviously that provides meat for predators who are next up on the what's called the trophic level, and they will eat them. So everything here has this role, and any waste is just food for something else on another level of the food chain. The output and the ultimate aim of growing these trees, it's to cut them down for sale as timber for us to build things, or wood for us to burn to use as energy to stay warm, or wood chip for doing our gardens in a aesthetically pleasing or fashionable way. And this is the thing that is so horrible within the world we live. These beautiful forests and this amazing patch of natural land where plants and animals have been able to establish themselves and create an ecosystem and just have a bit of space to live alongside, there's a bluebell, alongside a human dominant society. They just go when all this stuff gets cut down. And there's different methods of chopping down trees. They don't actually have to take the whole the whole forest. They can just take a couple at a time, and that makes for sustainable logging. Whereas some chop down entire forests in one go, and that's called clear cutting, and that just completely decimates the habitat underneath. There's no trees to support any of the plants, to support any of the animals that take shelter in here and live off the plants, and it completely decimates the ecosystem. And the really sad thing is that this beautiful habitat has no value under capitalism until it's actually cut down. Have a think about that. That really says a lot about human relationships with nature. This amazing landscape filled with other things that live here, other non-human things, has no value at all until it becomes this pile of logs. And yet, wandering through here, I get so much that I can't even quantify or really describe, just from watching things go about their lives and live here and seeing the variation and you know, wondering, oh, what lives down that hole, or you know, can I eat that plant, or just seeing like a nest full of bird eggs, as you've probably seen me post in the last few days, or you know, birds just getting on with things here. I get so much from that as a human, and it makes me wonder, how do we help support these spaces sustainably under capitalism? You know, what is the model that allows us to keep these wild spaces, allows us to walk amongst them and experience them, and allows animals to live here undisturbed at the same time? And as you can probably tell, I don't usually do these kind of monologues to camera. I'm sorry if this has been a little bit choppy, but as I'm kind of finding out more about this and thinking a lot more about the wild and its place within capitalism and how we can increase and support it as people who are born into this system, it's helping me develop my voice and my thoughts. And I just felt, the need to try and say a few things today, and maybe you learned a thing or two. Anyway, if you can let me know if you enjoyed it, if you think I suck, if you got any tips, if I don't know what I'm talking about, feel free to share with me. Try not to take me down too hard, and hopefully I can improve on this kind of thing.